Yo, what's good, YouTubes? This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP. That is the Everyday City Carry podcast. And I am not sure if you noticed, but I am doing this podcast. Feels like the sun right now because it is so hot in here. I'm sweating like crazy. Turned the fan off for the good audio. Trying to make this intro real good. Lost my chain of thought there because my brain is frying right now. It's like that commercial. Do you remember? This is your brain on drugs. And then they have like the egg frying on the shit on the pan.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
It's my brain right now. But you gotta make sacrifices, man. You gotta make sacrifices to have a YouTube channel because people care. People care. Oh boy. What kind of episode are you guys in for? We actually have a really dope episode, man. Really cool guy, Russell from Artisan Cutlery. He is their US rep, and we had a pretty cool long conversation. We checked out a lot of their new models and some models that are already being sold right now, some prototypes, and we just go in length about a bunch of different knife things. Just hang out, a bunch of knife nerds, and talk to each other. You guys like that, right? So without further delay, this is Russell from Artisan Cutlery. What's going on, guys? First of all, cheers to everybody. We have got Russell from Artisan Cutlery in the house tonight. How's it going, dude?
It's good. It's hot. It's really hot, dude. Whatever you're drinking, what you drinking? Like, what are you drinking?
It's just like some average whiskey. It's Makers.
Makers is good, man. There's nothing wrong with Makers.
Yeah, all my friends are like, why aren't you drinking Buffalo Trace or like Bullet or something? And I'm like, yo, I don't have a lot of money, man.
Makers is fine, man. They're all kind of in the same category.
Yeah, right.
Makers 46. Try the Makers 46. That is worth it at any price point. It's super good.
All right, I'll try that. For the people that are listening who may not be aware of who you are, just explain what is it you do for Artisan and how did you get linked up with them?
So I'm essentially Artisan's US rep. I'm the guy that you hear on the phone. I'm the guy that answers the questions. I'm the guy that usually does the social media, and I do the rounds at shows and, do the talky bits. It's a really fun job. And, man, all right, so I've worked in the industry on kind of like between the US and Chinese side for a bit now. Artisan just kind of came by and picked me up. It really came down to someone called me up, said, hey, I want you to meet my friend who's starting a new knife company. Why don't you drive like 4 hours from where you are right now? Can you do like 12 o'clock tomorrow and just like get up hella early and, drive over there? And I'm just like, well, I don't have a job, sure.
Yeah.
So I drive over, meet Mr. Wang, who's the owner of the company. He's the CEO. And I take a look at his stuff and I'm like, these knives are really cool. And he's like, yeah, do you want to go to SHOT Show with us? I'm like, SHOT Show? Sure. What do I have to do? Pack? What do I have to pay? Nothing? Like,
wow.
Dude, yes. So I went to SHOT Show with Artisan in 2018 for the very first show they ran. And they gave me a booklet with all the products with like big old stack full of knives. And they're just like, hey, this is what we have. Can you tell people about them? And just like, can you be our rep for, this is me sitting in like a little thing in the Aria in Vegas, in the Baccarat room with a bunch of people I've never met before with a pile of knives. And they're like, can you talk about these knives? And I'm like, I got you. And yeah, that's kind of how it went. And they hired me on after that. It's been pretty slick.
Were you in the hobby for a long time even before that? Or were you working in the industry already?
Bit of both. I actually worked a brick and mortar store for good solid 2 years out here in California. Little local store, but like right next to the Apple campus.
Yeah.
So it sold like a bunch of high-end knives and just like that Striders, Benchmade, ZT, Spyderco, occasionally some customs. But it all was just like, it's a bunch of techies and a bunch of like people with money invested in the early years of, I can't say the early years, but like the EDC hobby when it was starting to get rolling. And it was cool because I got to touch all these things that everyone just sat around on the internet and talked about. Like I think I've handled every model of, well, I can't say every model, but most like standard models of Strider that Mixed Strider made. I handled like all the special editions. I got to see I think I handled every single Benchmade model, like period. Everyone, almost everyone that's come out. Honestly, like considering the people we got, like even before I started working there, and it was really nice to like talk about this with real people and then go online to all these forums I liked and be like, hey guys, so this knife doesn't actually feel like that. This knife is such and such. It was, I get to be a giant nerd. It's great.
Yeah, man, that's kind of the thing that I'm trying to do with my channel is link the anime geeks, the gamer geeks, and the knife geeks together that are like sharing similar interests as me. And I don't think there's anyone else that's kind of doing it in that way. That's kind of like my own thing on it right now. You said you had some stuff to show us, man. Is there anything you want to talk about or showcase tonight? This is basically an artisan cutlery showcase. That's what I want this episode to do. You know what? Let's talk about that first, actually. You ended up wanting to get on the episode because you watched the Dylan Mallory episode.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Dylan is great, man. I actually have the Archeo, of course, right now. These are actually the only two artisan cutlery knives I have, and you sent me one of them, dude.
I did. Dude, I liked it. So the whole thing was like, hey, this would be great if it wasn't this expensive, because I can't afford it. And I'm sitting there just like, I absolutely feel that, because man, I work in the knife industry. I don't make crap for money. But I also happen to have my Archeo here. This is actually the prototype version of it. Yeah.
Wow. The large, the regular size.
Yeah, the full one. The only change is you see where the detent's really like laid on this guy. So in full production, when we actually moved it up, so the break is more like here instead of here. But that's the only difference.
Snap! It like snaps in.
Yeah, it's really got a lot of like pop to it. But it's just like you can't quite do this easily. So after we changed the position of the detent, it just made it so much nicer.
Yeah, I remember I tried the Archeo in titanium, and I loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. You know what's crazy is you kind of saved me in a moment that was pretty not super dark, but I was like, man, what am I doing? I'm spending all my time making videos. I don't feel like monetizing yet. You know, I don't know. Like, I'm almost 40 years old, right? So it's like I'm spending literally almost every waking moment thinking about what kind of pieces of content I'm going to do. Like, my schedule revolves around my day job in YouTube and Instagram. And that video kind of, like, I put a lot of work into it, but like it didn't hit that hard. And then you messaged me, you know, which is kind of a thing that I actually believe in for YouTube, which is like, if only like 100 people watch it, right? You shouldn't care, because think about like how big of a room you need to fit 100 people, you know? And if one of those people could be very important, right? And that's when you messaged me out of the blue. You were like, hey, do you want me to send you a G10 Archeo? And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, you know? So it was really cool that you did that, man. And it kind of, you know, definitely strengthened my opinion of Artisan. I actually haven't touched a lot of Artisan knives, you know?
Dude, all you got to do is ask, man. I can stuff. I mean, you're part of the pass around, so I try to get stuff for the pass around on a regular basis. I'm glad you get a chance to check them out. It's the Apex Pass Around group has been really great for us, and I, for one, really believe in the power of YouTube for the knife. Like, Instagram is great. Instagram is awesome because you get tons of views, you get tons of coverage. But the problem with Instagram is when you click for Instagram, it's just a view. Like, someone could just, oh, that's neat. Yeah. YouTube is an active click. It means someone actively goes and watch that. I don't know, a lot of people, they just like run random stuff on their YouTube and let it play in the background entirely. Even then, it's something they're interested in. So, podcast
maybe, but you're listening to it kind of like, you know, on the side, right? While you're doing work.
Like, knife reviews and like hobby-oriented interests like ours are active clicks. These are people who are looking at these things because they want to watch them. And 100 views for YouTube, I mean, and you know, I'm not going to say numbers for social media, but you know, that's like 1,000 clicks on Instagram. It's not the same, and the community you get out of YouTube is better, in my opinion.
Yes, I totally agree with that, man.
But you know, I like doing the pass around. I like getting out the knives. I like talking to people. Lord help me if you have some like the reviewers who call me up and I just chat for hours because I talk way too much, and that's
great, man.
it's the highlight of working for a company like this. Like, this is the fun thing. I get to play with knives. I get to talk about knives. I get to, you know, just bullshit around with people about the industry we're in, and I get to see what happens. I mean, I get to be kind of, you know, I get to kind of read what's going on in the scene in total.
Yes.
And YouTube like this is part of doing that, and it's the coolest part. And I'm really happy that you enjoyed getting the Archeo and playing with it and having it, because that is what makes doing this so damn cool. Like, I'm just like, I'm happy you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. I mean, it's a
That's
win-win.
awesome, dude. Have you ever thought about, since you like to talk, have you ever done any other podcasts, by the way, or is this the first one?
I haven't. This is actually the very first podcast I've done. I've offered it, but it's always been kind of like, yeah, I'll show up.
You're doing very well. I'm going to let you know right now. And this is another, to touch on that a little bit, is like, what if Artisan had one? You know how like they have Knife Banter on Blade HQ? And you could just have, you know, you could showcase some models and stuff. Doesn't have to be an hour. But I do truly believe that long form content is going to play a pivotal role in the evolution of the knife community. I've seen it happen with comedy on Joe Rogan. I've talked about this so many times, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, like that is one of the goals of the channel, is to allow knife people to just come on this show and just talk about whatever they want, knowing that we are into the same thing, right? And I really do feel that podcasting is going to be an important medium, especially with, I talked about this in the Dylan Mattery episode. Joe Rogan is switching over to Spotify starting September 1st. That is a huge move, man. So that means Spotify's video is going to be really good too, because Joe has to have both video and audio. And I just think this long form content in a space that is as young as ours, even though the knife hobby, the EDC hobby, has been going on forever. When it comes to social media and just general media and content creation about it, it's in its infancy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not big enough yet to the point where, you know, we have some big celebs that are really like pushing it. I'm not saying that's what I want, but that's bound to happen with any hobby. You know what I mean?
It's community based. It really is purely community based. And the people who get into it, who have, you know, online clout, I guess, like, you know, you had Skelton early on. Jim Skelton was on. Then we had like those earlier YouTubers, so Nut and Fancy, Lone Boy Scout.
Late Boy Scout.
Like,
Lone Boy Scout sounds cool though.
But no, like their stuff was really important to developing this, but their content was just so like, when was the last time you watched a Nut and Fancy video? Like, I love his stuff. I used a lot of that information early on when I was selling products. But man, those are long. Like, they're a little tough to watch. And good information, good solid information, good personal views. But the cool thing in particular with EDC is it's so personal. And your gear preferences vary wildly. I mean, for me, I live in California. I don't carry a firearm. It's more trouble than it's worth. And for me also, like, when I carry a knife, I carry a larger than 3-inch knife because I live in California and there's no knife laws about that. I mean, city per city, sure, but I'd rather carry a 3.5-inch blade than a 3-inch blade, personally. On your end, your neck of the woods, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think New York is a 3-inch limit.
If you Google it, they say that you have to have an under 4-inch blade. However, this is from living here. You can get in trouble for carrying a Leatherman, all right? Like, don't, it really all depends on why you were searched. You know, why you were stopped and things like that. You know, that's why I always say this, and I'll probably get in trouble for this one day, but the subway stations always have monthly bag checks where they got to meet quota of some sort, and they're just, you know, asking people, and maybe they'll find some weed or something like that, which they're not actively looking for anymore. But, you know, just anything of that nature that's going to get somebody in trouble. Maybe they'll write up a ticket or a summons. And it's really up to the police officers to decide if you are going to get hauled in or get a summons. The laws have improved. I think that, you know, the gravity knife law thing is kind of like, you don't really get in trouble for that. Maybe you'll get a fine, maybe you'll get your knife taken away, but it's not like you're going to end up in bookings for a day, you know, which is like how it was before. But yeah, man, I try to carry a 3-inch or below because of that reason, in case I do get frisked. It's like, what am I going to do? Like, you know, this is not a knife you would stick people up for. You know what I'm saying? With
it's also like how you carry it. Like, you know,
yeah, like
if I'm doing something outside, you know, for me, like, okay, in my end, because I'm usually wearing stuff that makes sense. I don't wear like a suit very often for work. Because Lord help me, this is like the suit of the knife industry. I'm just like, I got like 2 suits for my first interview with Artisan. I come in wearing a suit, and I'm just like, my boss is wearing a t-shirt.
That's great.
But no, it's like if I'm walking around and I'm carrying a knife, it's like it's not too big. But if I'm carrying something like, oh, let's see, what do I got around here that's huge?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm like carrying this thing, it's like, okay, what the heck am I doing? Whereas I'm carrying, like, I don't know, this guy.
Yeah. That's Dylan's piece, is it?
That is. That's the biome.
Yeah.
Love this thing. First time doing a slip joint. First time Artisan did a slip joint, and this. Can I just talk about this thing for a bit?
Sure, go ahead.
Yo, he nailed this thing. This is one of the slickest slip joints I've ever handled.
Wow.
I'm not really a traditional knife kind of guy. Like, I have a couple that I really like, but I'm much more about modern traditional. I think that newer materials, newer steels, sometimes like the carbon steel is fine because I like the patinas, but I think that the blade shapes on traditionals are just kind of like, they work for some tasks, and some of them are great, but normally I hate nail nicks.
Yeah.
Like,
you gotta.
But look at this. Like, just pinch this guy. It's got tons of clearance, and the way it fits in hand. So you just see an exterior goes there, and it all just kind of fits around like this. And that blade is just a perfect 3-inch. This is so freaking cool.
Yeah. That's how much does that run exactly?
Oh man, on Blade HQ, they just popped in on Blade HQ and they sold out in like 2 days, but they're like $30.
Wow, dude.
12C, 27N. Everyone's been asking us to do 12C or 14C.
Yeah.
We tried to do more 14C. In fact, the prototype was in 14C. We just haven't been able to get enough 14C to do a proper order. That was our biggest issue. We couldn't get enough of the steel. Because, you know, supply is limited, and there are other companies in China that prefer 14C and they already have a standing order. So we went with 12C, and 12C is pretty fine. But again, it brought that knife down to, and also
$30.
These are contoured scales. They're contoured
G10.
It's got even a little bit of like, camera, come on. You can't see it on the natural.
Is that JG10, right? Natural G10?
But it's got like almost like got a little bit of milling in there that keeps it gives it a little texture. But it's just such a cool knife. And for $30,
dude, that's awesome for $30, man.
Dylan, it's not even that, like, I'm just going to gush a bit because I love Dylan's design so much. It's not that it's just like, oh, it's a good slip joint for $30. It's like, yeah, it's a good slip joint for $30, but it's a good knife, period.
Yes.
Look at that blade shape. It's clean.
Yeah, I dig it, man. I dig it.
I just watched Eugene Kwan's review on this one, and his whole
dude, he's great. I'm trying to get him on here, and I'm like, come on, bro, Asian Persuasion episode. The only 2 Asian knife YouTubers, I think. I mean, I don't know.
There's gotta be more, dude. I feel like, actually, funny thing is, I live 20 minutes away from Eugene, so we're actually in the same like local knife club.
Yeah, just let him know. Hey, man, I did the podcast with Ray.
So
he's
busy,
really chill.
Like,
I know.
He's so tired.
Yeah,
but good guy. He is such a good person, and I like his reviews so much because he really gets thorough about his reviews. It's not just like, oh, this has. I'm pretty sure he didn't mention blade length, steel, handle material. He could still have a great review.
Because he gets really in depth about like his perception of the knife. He talks about design language.
I love that.
Yeah, I leave it up to those guys to do that. You know what I mean? Like when I talk about a knife, I come at it at an angle of a newcomer that's like very into the hobby. That just happens to have a platform of people that like to watch my stuff. I always tell people, like, I'm not a spec-expert. If you're coming here to make a decision on this knife, that's not what it's here for. You should come here to see what I think of it. Yes. And then if you're going to, you know, maybe you'll have a good time, like, watching it.
No, that's the important thing. Like, your style is what makes the review, like, resonate with people.
Yeah. And have you ever watched Backpack B?
I haven't.
Okay, so I'm going to send you a link to that because it's BAKPAKB, all right? He is a motion graphics guy that's an EDC YouTuber, very small channel. I helped get his channel to 300. He is, if you watch a video, let me put it to you this way. I tagged BRS in one of his reviews, and BRS hit him up right away. And it was like, yo, we want to send you our line, whichever you want to check out. The most, like, just the best editing you've ever seen in the knife community. Motion graphics, like he'll show the knife like flip open, he'll have specs come out, edited in a way that is professional. He does this for a living. He just happens to be a knife guy. And it's funny because I always tell people, like, you know, this man is the future. Like, I think that there's always going to be room for the spec and sort of expert-driven reviews, but to bring in fresh blood and fresh eyes into the community, you're going to need guys like him. Like, I don't even think I'm modern anymore after I saw him. I was like, oh my, and I promote him all the time, man. I've had him on here.
Absolutely check that out.
Yeah, I'm going to send you a link. I think, you know, totally. Any knife company would be lucky for him to do something, and he's such a nice guy. Such a nice guy, man.
I mean, that's one great thing about doing this is trying to find like the new people doing things. And it's like so personal thought on this is that the current, you know, current world situation has brought a lot of new knife reviewers into the game. And it's not nice, but it also means I got to go through a lot of videos where I'm just, because I think that I do is that a good chunk of my day, every day, is spent going through the comments on YouTube. And I'm not always going to like comment back on everything, because, you know, I'm supposed to be there as a professional, and I feel that sometimes it's nice to comment on things to provide information, but it's not really my job to go in there and start start fires. It's like,
you're not starting a flame war in the comment section, you know.
Analyze things, check things, look at trends, look what people are saying. Like if someone comes up and says, "Hey, this knife is great, but here's this problem." Like let's see, I'm trying to think if we had a particular model that was an issue for. As I stare. As I sit over the pile of knives I'm sitting up. All right, hold on.
Okay, no problem, man.
Okay, so grabbing one from the pile of knives I figured would be important. So
yeah,
small feldspar.
Okay, I love this feldspar. CJRB. Yeah.
Really, really great design. Really nice. Great blade shape.
Yep.
No one can use the choil because it's way too small. Now, our original intention was not for this to really be a choil. It was really
a sharpening choil, right? Yeah.
But the size is just kind of like, not quite enough for anything, including my tiny finger, which I wear like a solid medium-sized glove, like medium with almost a little clearance.
I wear small to extra small sometimes.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I felt that finger choil. Yeah. I could actually use it, but you have to have really small hands, man.
Yeah, which I can almost get that. But the average person's like, it doesn't work. And I'm not going to go in there and say, oh, no, it's not supposed to be a finger choil. It's like,
it's a sharpening choil, right?
Yeah. So our thing is like, hey, okay, we should take this into account. If we're going to start making choils in this thing, we could have always taken this back and then made the blade a little different shape. Now, I think with this particular model, I think that actually serves it well because it makes it easier to sharpen. But that's data we need. That's stuff that we need for future models. And if I can just throw out a newish one here that we totally like change this up on. Have you seen the Rhea yet? I don't think I've had a chance.
No.
I'm actually still waiting for that one. So they'll be going to the Apex Pass around. But I have one here. This one's a defective one with carbon fiber. It actually is not centered, so I'll put that out there right now.
It was
but the action is still great.
Wow.
But look at that blade.
Oh, man, that's nice.
Yeah. But look at the choil. It's tiny. Man, my light is so weird. It's just giving me shadows everywhere. But
I can tell that it's a nice knife.
This thing is great. Look how thin this
is. Thumb studs, right? Thumb studs, carbon fiber.
One thumb stud. Actually, I'm waiting for the micarta ones because we're doing micarta.
Yes, man, micarta is so hot right now.
Dude, it is. Like, I have, if I can reach over there, I actually pulled up one of the micarta Centauris to show off, which has just been like, the Centauri was. We'll talk about that later. But anyway,
Rhea, like, what is it called? The Rhea.
Rhea, RIA.
Right.
So
nice
details in this guy. So the blade, nice and let's actually hold it up for comparison. So I'm gonna do it in here that I can barely see my face. So we tried to like lower the profile on it, but notice the choil is much smaller. Makes a lot more sense. We also did something kind of cool with the clip on this guy because everyone complained about the clip on the small feldspar. And I thought this was a great idea initially because it's the same clip that we use on, I don't know, I can't reach it, but actually, same thing as on the Archeo.
The Archeo, right? I was thinking it looks similar.
It is. Yeah. It's the same size. Now, for CJRB, that's kind of a nice thing because all the clips are interchangeable. It means that if you break a clip, I send one out to you. Here's a clip. That's it. If you happen to like have multiple CJRBs and one you don't use, you can pull the clip off and swap it out. If you want, I was hoping that we can send off clips to like, Smoky Mountain Knife Works and Blade HQ so that they have a pile to distribute. Easy. But people didn't like this. And I kind of got that solidly when I watched Nick Shabazz's review, and he's like, the full size is a gem and this one's junk. I'm like, wow.
Dude,
Ouch.
Nick he's a hard customer, but he's really, really good though. Like, I am glad that we have him
in a year. I'll take
in our community. You know what I'm saying? Because the man could really review anything. With
has
his
a pattern.
persona. Right. And I'm glad he's with us, man. When he was on my podcast, I was like fanboying so hard.
He's a fun dude to talk with.
When he messaged me, I thought he was like a Russian bot or something. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, is this really Nick Shabazz? Okay, do the podcast in 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
He's a fun dude to talk with. Like, it was great meeting him at like the first show, because he was really quiet. Like, Nick is very discreet about who he is. Like, you know, the Batman mask and everything.
Yeah. I get it, though. You know,
he takes it very seriously. He takes anonymity seriously. He takes his reviews seriously. He takes himself very seriously. But you know what? With the way he does his stuff, it makes sense. And when I met him when I initially talked to him the first time, he sent me an email. Like, I sent him an email. It's like, hey, Mr. Shabazz, I'm a huge fan. Artisan Cutlery would love you to review some of our knives. Try to make it sound professional. And Nick came back with an email saying like, hey, thanks, I appreciate it, but not really a fan of some of your designs. I feel they're a little derivative. And it was just like, oh geez, oh my god, we're dead. Oh my god. And it was okay though, because Nick came and stopped by our booth at Blade Show and talked with us directly. And after that, he's like, no, you guys are fine. You know what you're talking about. You clearly have a vested interest in the products. You want to make good products. Yes, I will review some of your knives. And I'm just like, oh my god, we got it. Got that sweet Nick Shabazz, you know, content. And since then, Nick, you know, he's been great about reviewing. So like, he's been really great with us. Like, he's not going to like everything. I know. I'm actually hoping to send him a few knives distinctively that he doesn't like. Like, I want to send him, like, the Proponent, the Dirk Pinkerton one that's like this thick and literally weighs a pound. I really want to send that to him.
Proponent. That's the thick one, kind of reverse Tonto.
Yeah, it's a monster.
You know what? That looks so freaking cool, though. You know, sometimes you just need an overbuilt thing, and that's what I miss about you know, the company ZT. Is like, when I first got into knives, I bought a zero tolerance 0456 designed by Sync. And I, you know, coming from a guy that watches anime, and I was like, this is like a mech right now in my hand. You know, this is a Gundam. This is like a tank. I loved it. And now it's like they kind of, you know, are steering away from that. I think the collaborations with, you know, hot knife designers is what's going to push certain models like Dylan, Isham. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys that are just hot, that people are like always willing to check out.
Yeah, it also lets your customers know that you are invested in the industry and the designers. You're not just there to make a buck. You're not just there to like throw out a design and see what floats. You want to make something good. This is why we want to have designers. We want to have cool stuff. We want to have cool stuff that works. We want to have cool stuff that people, well, we want it where the designers are invested in the product. Like, that's the cool thing about this now, and especially with like what we're doing, what We Knife is doing, what Best Tank is doing. They're all moving into getting designers on their team to do like these really neat projects that have really just different knives. And it's just like it's fun. It's interesting. It brings, I don't know, it brings character to your brand.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good partnership because you've got the capability of manufacturing, and these guys already have their design language down that people have already approved in their head, you know? So it's bringing two capabilities together, and it's a good partnership.
It's great. Oh, wait. I totally forgot to mention one thing about the reel.
Go for it. Yeah. Sure.
Changed up the clip.
Yep.
Smaller clip.
Yep.
Recessed screws.
Oh, you know what's crazy? I wanted to ask about the recessed screws thing. I always complain about the recessed screws. I love the recessed screws. Everybody loves the recessed screws, man.
It's the thing. I think the one issue with doing recessed screws is, one, the clips cost more to make. Production-wise, it makes the clip
I understand that. Yeah, I was wondering if that was the case.
Yes. The milling and the cutout also is just you got to get new screws. So this is actually a relatively, like, it's not exactly thin.
Yeah.
But that means we got to drill it a bit differently to make everything fit. You got to make a cutout. But for a lot of these other knives, we already kind of do that. So we might as well make some new screws.
Wow.
I don't know if we're going to continue using this on other knives. I hope we are,
Yeah.
because we made these, and then we also made titanium clips for these if you want to upgrade it. So
Yeah. Wow.
that was, I can't say it was totally my idea, but I did bug the boss about it for
Yeah.
a while, saying, hey, why don't we make a clip you can put on the knife in titanium if you want to dress it up. I mean, the CJRBs are a good price. I mean, I can't even I can't sure.
They're an amazing price, man. Amazing price.
$35 to $45.
Yeah. I got to check out the Gobi.
Yes.
And I was like blown away, dude. I was like, what?
Nice.
This is crazy. Like, this is crazy. Yeah, when did that idea come up, the CJRB idea? Like, when did Artisan say, like, hey, man, was it like, hey, this Civivi thing is taking off. We should do a range, because it's smart to do that. You see a price range that is underrepresented and you try to go for it, right? I mean, watch companies do that. I have a friend who started a company called Flood Watches. He realized that this is a while ago. He sold it for millions.
Flood Watches, yeah.
Yeah, this is like, I want to say I wasn't even 30 years old yet. I was like maybe 28. Yeah. And I was DJing at the time still, and he had a turntable watch, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna give you this. Just wear it when you're DJing or whatever." And they just discovered a price range that was this was before all the budget watches came.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they discovered a price range that this was underrepresented, and they just attacked, and the company took off.
Actually, it's kind of funny with that because Civivi was not the first company to do that from a Chinese. Yeah. Kaiser did that before with the Vanguard series. It's just that price was different. The Vanguard series was like around $100 with VT10 or 154 CM, I think, on some of the stuff. And I'm quite positive there are other companies prior to that did it as well, but it just never really hit until, I can't even say, because like Civivi definitely hit really hard with their first line of knives. But Artisan had already been thinking about this since we started. To my knowledge, we already had this idea in our head because this is just kind of a normal way for companies to progress. We want that halo effect from the high-end knives. Then we did the Artisan knives that are, the G10 versions. And that was a good option, but we wanted to kind of release a line that we didn't have to do this bump up, up down series. And, it was good. I mean, for Artisan to have sets of knives that are, here's your full size, here's your small, this is your 4-inch blade, this is your 3-inch blade. It was really cool. It was something that wasn't offered very much unless a company got really successful. But then to move this down to a price point, so here's the initial idea for CJRB. And this is the way that I pitched it back when, we just started, because I believe CJRB started in the market last September. So it has not been around a long time at all. But the thing was that we wanted to make knives with the same level of quality of Artisan at a whole nother step down price point. So we did that by producing a larger amount with a much more simplified internal structure. So here, let's pull out, actually I got my Centros here. So probably my most carried knife.
Not really.
I have a Centros. I hide it because I like purple. Yeah. But if you notice on this guy, this is full steel liners. They're not milled. They are, it's still pretty heavy. Yes. The blade is a plain stone wash. Just plain old stone wash. There's no backspacer. It's columns. So all the parts on this knife were just kind of like nickel and diming the price. It really just all right, so let's do what we did for Artisan. And then we're going to take it and knock it down and take down the components without reducing the quality of the blade and the materials that go into the handle. Just, cheapen everything else as much as possible while maintaining ideal quality. It means your knife is going to be a little bit more heavy, a little bit more rugged, a little bit more, there's going to be less features and just plain open construction. It's a more, I can't
maybe less chamfering and things like that, right? Less contouring. I mean,
yeah, because again, it's just flat scales in this guy.
Right.
So that was the initial idea. And if you look at the first 5 models we produced, so the Tala, the Taiga, the Briar, the Crag, and the Centros. The first five are slab scale, heavy, chunky, but they use the same bearings as Artisan, the same D2, they're produced on the same line, and they still have a similar feel to the Artisan products. It's just that we kind of nickel and dime the process to make them cheaper. And then we produce more of them to reduce that cost even more. That was the model we were going for. The initial success of CJRB said, forget it, just make good knives. It just hit so hard that we're like, forget it, just put out good stuff.
Yeah.
And we have had no problem selling since then.
Mm-hmm.
It really was just such a successful initial run and such a happy customer base that we just said, forget it. We don't need to make these knives cheap. Make the price point the same, but make them good. And we did. They're selling still really well.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I was super impressed with this. I did get to check out the Centros and like I said, the Gobi. I was like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, right? Contour G10.
Yeah.
Inset liners.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my whole thing is, I don't want, I hope Fox doesn't listen, but if you had slapped Fox or Viper or any of the Italian companies on that, that's a $120 knife.
You know what really impressed me about the Gobi was I got to check out the JG10 natural G10 one, and I was like, wow, this looks really nice, man.
Yeah.
It was like contoured and stuff. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I know, right?
Crazy. I was like, dude, how do they do this,
Details. And, once you make it in large volume and you really kind of like focus on the design, and, the nice thing is our factory is really capable. We have a really good factory. And they can get stuff out so fast and so clean and so just like we can get production runs done really quickly. It's why CJRB's gone from, it's only been a few months. I mean, we haven't even been operating CJRB for a year. And we have a ton of models in tons of different styles and they're available in tons of places. I mean, that sounds like success to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have such a good factory that can actually manage this and get the production online in time and, keep relatively good schedules. I mean, with current world events, our schedules have certainly been a little messed up, but it's
how has that affected you guys, by the way? Like the whole Corona thing, things like, is it
better than I thought in some cases, much worse in others. So pretty much production. So it hit at a weird time because I was coming back from SHOT Show. So this whole thing, like while I was at SHOT Show was when I started hearing about this as an American. I'm sure I probably wasn't listening hard enough because I was getting ready for SHOT Show. But the whole team is sitting there and they're huddled around their phones one day. And I'm just like, hey guys, what's going on? They're like, oh my God, our town's getting sprayed down. Like, sprayed down for what?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, what virus? Oh, the virus that's going through China. And they were sitting there saying, yeah, this is why we had such a hard time getting through the airport. And it's why our baggage took so long to get here. I'm like, oh man, I must be an idiot for not knowing this stuff. And yeah, once they headed back, then it was, straight into the Chinese New Year. And then the New Year was extended, to keep people sheltered in place, essentially. And then from there, China implemented a bunch of new rules and new things for business. And then like the factory didn't get up and running in full, I think for at least like 2 months after that. So it was months behind. It wasn't like we weren't doing production, but it was severely reduced. So that meant that a lot of those orders, and on top of that, a lot of the companies we shipped to they were halting orders because they needed to shut down. They needed to take, we were saying, hey, we don't want them from China, so et cetera, et cetera. In the long run, it hasn't hurt us too much except in our schedule. So the things that we hope to have out by Blade Show are still kind of in the works. Beyond that, it really hasn't been too bad. And to be honest, people are buying knives like crazy right now. I think thanks to the crowd, like it's not the users who are buying it, it's the collectors and the people who just want like cool new knives and who are getting invested in EDC. Now they're kind of stuck at home or they're working in a place where now they're more reliant on themselves than anything else. Like you need good tools for your work. And now's the time to really kind of invest in them. And yeah, like the CJRB sales are just through the roof.
Nice.
Like everyone's getting invested in the products because they're seeing them online. More people know about us. I get calls all the freaking time and way too early in the morning with people just asking me questions. I mean, it's fine. I'm annoyed by getting talk in the morning sometimes, but it's like, it's fine. They want to know. It's my job.
Yeah. I think that doing this, like what you're doing right now, is going to make Artisan a little more personable.
Yeah.
To have a guy like, I think they're lucky to have a guy like you who's very well spoken. You're 100%, you can see how you are genuinely invested in the hobby.
I appreciate that.
And you care. Dude, I could tell right now, this is our first time meeting. I want people, listening or watching to know that. And I can already tell, like, man, this guy is really in it. You know what I mean? He's really in it. To be 100%
fair. Like, this is one of the reasons I was hired by Artisan.
Yeah.
I talk knives. I'm a total nerd. So funny story. I don't have one. I got my initial job with a prior knife company by handing out a business card that said, Russell,
Yeah.
Russell, advertising, marketing, social media, professional knife nerd. Because that is exactly
professional what?
Professional knife nerd.
Knife nerd.
That is my job. That is actually my job. And if I could keep that as my job title, I totally would. Okay. I still have those cards, and I still give them out at like places that I'm not like representing Artisan, and I'm just like hanging out, checking out knives. I'm totally happy with that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Do you have a lot of places like that in California where you can, go somewhere? New York City.
Not as much.
There really isn't, man.
So in California, we have an interesting community of knife people. It is okay, so personal experience says there are a lot of people that buy knives here. There are tons of collectors there because, you got to have money to get into the upper echelons of collecting. Like, I know guys that are sitting around with their big ass collection of Striders, and I'm sitting there going, this is more money than I can consider right now. You have 200 Striders. What are you doing with this? And the answer is, I'm a collector. I'm like, all right, fair on you, man. I mean, people collect cars, and that's probably like more expensive than this.
Yeah.
But it's a different place here because you have people that the art knife scene is surprisingly alive here because we have the Solvang show, which is insane. I don't think I'll ever be invited to that because that's a super like exclusive,
like swanky, exclusive.
It's like you're looking at like $12,000 pieces sitting on a table, and someone's like, "Yeah, that's my basic stuff. Let me show you the cool things." It's I worked with a gentleman who sold things like that, and it's just a whole nother world of knife.
Yeah.
And then we have the California Custom Show, obviously. And then, since we're so close to Vegas, like all the Vegas shows. But in terms of like actual knife stuff, just not as much. It's a growing community here because, I live in a tech area. Techies like knives. They need to
do.
Your machinist, like, it's good to have a knife in your pocket because you are like breaking seals and like busting like plastic pieces, and it's something you need to use. It's not like the hub of the outdoor industry. At least where I am, the outdoor industry is pretty like that's a weekend thing.
Yeah, there's like the only outdoor thing we do out here is we go to like Central Park or something like that.
Like we walk up, we take a hike up in the hills, and beyond that, that's about it. But there is a pretty strong group of collectors in California. And it's like California's big. There's lots of us here, and then I'm noticing like Therapeutic Edge, Women Carry Knives. Like they're part of my, they live relatively close.
Cool.
I hang out with
pretty
them.
Cool people, man. Yeah,
I know. We occasionally we used to get Korean barbecue together. Then this happened. Now it's SAGs barbecue.
I haven't had Korean barbecue in so long, man. I love it. What's really cool that I've been seeing a lot is a lot of there are a lot of like photography nerds that are EDC nerds too, man. And I love seeing that they're taking all these cool shots. One of the biggest YouTubers, in photography and cinematography, Peter McKinnon, like, is playing around with a PM2 and it has hit up Ben Banters from Blade HQ before saying he watched their stuff. And I'm like, that's crazy. What's that?
This thing, just to make a note of this, I know this is probably going to air on a different day, but big congratulations to Ben for getting his knife released. It just hit Blade HQ today. I went on, it was sold out. I'm like, I'll get one on a show. But man, like, Ben is such a cool guy. He is such a nice dude. Oh my God. So it's cool to see that where he went from a place of being like not in the review side, but just being on like the business side, side of Blade HQ to where he is now. And it is the coolest thing to see because it's just another side of this world. And I hope we see more things like that. More people just want to get invested in this and just like do this, pop in, talk about designs, interact with people.
I definitely want more of this, man. And, I was so happy when Dylan was like, hey, man, Russell wants to do the podcast. And I'm like, yeah, of course. I was surprised because I don't know, like I'm not really good at asking people to be on.
It's hard because you don't know what we're gonna say.
Like Nick messaged me and was like, "Hey, I listened to your this episode and I really liked it." That's when I realized my opportunity was there to ask him. And then I was like, "Hey, do you want to do the podcast?" And I'm, you and Dylan actually started a whole thing I'm having the guy from Niche Designs.
Nice.
He started a Kickstarter. I'm having him on Thursday, I think.
I saw his design at USN, I think. It is so neat.
A lot lighter than it looks, man. That's how I felt when I held it. I was like, what the hell? I was expecting this to,
I thought it was going to be like a chunky knife. No, this thing is razor thin. It is such a cool piece.
And then, I went on his website and I can see how much work was done on it. So I was like, you know what? I like what you're doing. If you ever want to be on the podcast, you can. Your Kickstarter is live right now. You can use my platform to get views or whatever.
That's awesome.
And, and dude, do you have anything else that you want to show us, by the way, tonight?
Yeah, I got a whole.
Yeah, let's look at some stuff, man. Let's look at some stuff, dude. I think people are waiting for some knife content.
I'm gonna reach over this way to like the other.
No problem. Just reach over slowly.
I'm rearranging things. I put so much stuff out. Oh god. Oh no.
You don't have it.
Oh god. Oh, there it is. Okay. Cool. Oh my god. I have no room for my mouse. Okay. Cool. So, all right. Whew. All right. So, we have some new things that are coming out.
Uh-oh.
Now, the thing is that a lot of these were on display at SHOT Show. Probably some of them were at Blade Show. But now that we're finally getting things rolling, stuff is coming out fast. So let's see. Where do we want to start? All right, you know what? Let's go with the one that's probably been out the most and everyone's been asking about. Another knife by Dirk Pinkerton.
Ooh.
The Tacit.
Wow. That looks awesome, man.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm not a combat-y guy. I'm not really about combat knives. This thing is kind of wicked. Look at that Pronto.
Wow.
Look at how that thing is. And the thing is, Dirk does some serious, let's see, hands. Dirk does some serious like magic with his handles. Because this thing, I got small hands, again. Pretty much, once I get into a comfortable grip, pretty much fully enclosed in my hand.
Wow.
I actually showed this knife to Peter at Therapeutic Edge, or at this Therapeutic Edge, with giant like meat hook hands. Dude, he's the one who makes the ADV Butcher look like nothing. Like, his hand fits just as comfortably on this thing.
Wow.
It's so weird. And it really is such a neat knife when it comes to, like, Dirk says it's a minimized tactical folder. Also, I really love how we did that clip. We've been blind screwing a lot of our clips. They really, like, show up really clean.
Yep.
But this is a fun knife. We finally got it out. We actually did it with a micarta and carbon fiber scale on the front, and it's currently in Damascus. We'll probably be releasing an S35 one soon. But that's Tacit. Front side.
Wow, that looks so cool, man. Awesome.
Then let's go with our new lock. So this is the one that a lot of people were having a lot of questions on, and it's I can't. The mechanism is actually pretty simple, but this is the blowback.
Whoa.
And this one has our new Recoil Lock, which I had the name and I wasn't sure what the hell to call it. So after a month of trying to figure out a name for a lock, I'm like, I give up. Recoil Lock.
That's pretty cool.
But the action on this thing, super snappy. You hear that? Like the sound of this is so clunk.
Wow, I love that clink.
Ooh, it's hard to do it like vertical, but
check
this out. How do you about this? There's this little ridge right here. So if you put your thumb on there, you're actually reinforcing the lock a little bit. So if you're really that way, sure, but you can actually close it like that.
Whoa.
And there's a pass through for the flipper. So
wow.
All right, so I'm not trying to start fires here, but this is a little fire starter-y.
Yeah.
We accomplished something Spyderco couldn't. You can fully close the lock, run your finger to the flipper.
Wow, dude, that's awesome. That's a great looking knife. Really cool. I'm a sucker for interesting locks and opening mechanisms. Like, I love it.
Here's the thing, though.
Yep.
This is a full milled piece of titanium. So pretty much it's milled titanium, and then we insert the steel lock bar into there. So the lock. So you can close it a bunch of ways. So you can use a thumb on the backside.
Yep.
Like so. You can do the finger like I've been doing. You can do a pinch like you can with an axis or a crossbar lock.
Dude.
Or I like the suicide drop. I'm pretty much holding it here. I'm using my thumb to disengage the lock, half disengage, and there's tension on the blade now as it's still the lock applies pressure to the lock pin. So it's a little tougher to close, but I can just use my thumb or just half disengage.
Awesome.
And slow roll it closed. It's super cool.
What is that called again?
That's the recoil lock, and this is the blowback. Now, if
The blowback recoil lock.
so this one in the full titanium is not quite your style. We are, and I think we just put this one out a few weeks ago. Actually, no, it's been like a month now.
Mhm.
We have the kicker, which is the CJRB version. The blackened one was actually, this is a prototype. It has a plastic little thing here instead of a steel one, so I just have the prototype. But this is same thing.
Oh, recoil lock again.
Recoil lock, but
What does that run?
I think it's same price as all the CJRB, so almost like, I think more like $60 bucks.
Wow,
sorry,
dude.
50, 60, 50. I don't know. It's around the same price as CJRB. I think it may be a tad more expensive, but not much. But see, it's a much more minimized version of the lock. Same thing, just same action. You can do the whole. Here, I'm going to do the suicide drop on the finger.
And do it with the thumb. That is so cool.
Ooh. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this blade shape is not personally to my taste, but as a work knife, this thing is just a freaking beast. It's such a neat thing, and then the whole locking mechanism and that smoothness to it. It's a true ambidextrous knife. It's one of the first. I can't think of a lot of other ambidextrous knives at this price point. I think the SOG Terminus is coming to mind.
Yeah.
That's still running almost $100.
Yeah. I think it was at first. I think you can get them a little cheaper now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny that you're showing me these the new lock, and that is my whole thing. Like my whole review channel, my whole philosophy is just ergos, aesthetics, and action. That is the snob that I am.
Yes.
I cut cardboard, I cut paper. I'm not going out into the city cutting wires. I'm a filthy casual knife guy, but I'm just as into the hobby as everyone else, I have this gag on my channel where I say shout out to ATR13 MOV, and you'll see an ATR13 MOV like man with a t-shirt like scroll through the screen, and people really love it, because to me, like, that's what's important: aesthetics, ergonomics, and action. I'm addicted to flipping knives. That's really what I love doing the most. Yeah, I make tricks with certain things. I do little flips. Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay.
To the bag. I should have pulled out more stuff. There it is. All right, wait. So, you may have seen this one already. Dylan may have mentioned it, but fidget factor. You've seen the Archeo, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you see the non-locking version?
Oh, did he show that to me? I think he did.
No.
Is it like a double detent kind of thing? Or?
It is a double detent.
Oh.
This one, so this one's actually a little smaller. So let's see if I can put this in frame without it looking.
Oh man, that's cool.
It's a tiny bit smaller. So this is like a 3.5. This is a 3.75.
Yeah.
So it actually feels pretty good in hand. But it's got a nice. This is the proto. It's got a nice light touch to it. But we also included this little pin right here. And there we go. And that goes into this hole right here.
He did show me this. I remember he did show me this. Wow, that is so awesome, man. Very cool.
The fidget factor on this thing is just so good. Look at that.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I love it.
One more thing for you.
No, keep going. No.
Well, the one cool thing about this in particular is we did a special edition for Knife Center. So we did a small version of this guy. So we threw an under 3-inch version of this one.
Oh, no.
Orange G10. It's super cool. I haven't even had a chance to see one yet. They all sold out really quick. We're probably going to make them some more. Yeah. But it was just so slick looking. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. That's amazing.
The fidget knife. All right, wait. Back to the fidget. Oh, God. This is going to be long, man. All right, so.
No, it's cool. What's that? Oh, is that? Right? Oh, yeah. The multi-tool kind of thing, right?
But this is a CJRB version.
Oh.
This is like $60.
No way.
Yeah. It's super cool. It's just the bottle opener. I just said, like, hey, guys, just don't worry about the auction wrench or the pry bar or anything. Just bottle opener. That's it.
Yeah. And then it could be a trainer.
It is. I mean, it essentially is. It's just kind of a really funny trainer. You get to do, like, other tricks with it. Let's see if I can do, like, a scary one. So, there.
So
the autoclaves.
That's so awesome, man.
So these just came out.
Crazy.
Knife Center just got these in possibly today. So like they're 60-ish, 57-ish.
That's awesome. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember when I saw the Artisan version and I was like, fuck, I can't buy that right now.
They're affordable now. And this is the ultimate barbecue tool. Like,
Mhm.
just go out there with like a big old like 12-pack of Miller and just
Yep. And people are like,
here's
oh shit.
everything. Let me
Hmm.
just literally chuck this over into a pile of knives. And go.
How many knives do you have on you in your place at any given time? Just like hundreds?
If you count my personal collection plus the
Yeah.
artisan stuff, yeah,
Yeah.
hundreds. I'm already a pretty like stupid knife collector, so
Yeah.
it's a problem, man. It's a problem. But yeah,
Yeah.
in my small space that is being hidden by this guy is like hundreds of knives.
Wow.
This isn't even like artisan stock. This is artisan samples.
Yeah.
We have so many models.
Wow,
Okay,
dude.
so
That's crazy. What else you got?
all right, so I did the kicker,
Hmm.
did the biome, did the Rhea. All right, right. Okay, did the feldspar, did the back blow, blowback, not back blow. So everyone's been checking this one out. So
Yeah.
you seen the Centauri, right?
The Centauri. Yeah. Yeah. That's the front flipper.
My Carter version.
Ooh, very nice. I'm waiting for the Apex pass around model to get into my
It should be
hands.
getting to you soon. I passed the Damascus
Yep.
version. So
Mhm.
the thing about the Centauri, big shout out to Ray. Ray is a
Yeah.
fantastic
Oh,
dude.
Beloved guy in the community.
He's such a nice dude, and honestly, Ray can almost do no wrong.
Mhm.
Seriously, he makes a lot of his knives currently. So the ones you see on his Instagram, he just hand finishes them. He just goes and like just puts steel to a grinder, puts it in a frame, and makes a really cool knife.
Damn.
And that's kind of what he's doing now. Is he's able to really just do it as art. He's just enjoying the process of making knives, and that's really cool. But man, the guy has an eye for aesthetics, and it was really cool bringing the Centauri to market. Because I spent so much time driving over to Ray's, like halfway. I kind of met Ray halfway between his place and my place, and we just sat there. We got coffee, we got a burger, we chatted about knives, we chatted about products, and we worked on the Centauri. I say work because Ray did all the work. I'm just like, hey, cool. Can we put a knife from you? Man, how's that Centauri going? It was great. Like, it was fantastic. But I'm really happy with the way this one turned out because it's a very different kind of knife than what people are used to seeing from him. I mean, on top of the fact it's a front flipper, which is awesome. It's got that really aggressive swedge on top.
Yep.
And the blade shape it's just different. Also, I love the clip. Like, Ray designed this clip for us. I think that's one of the coolest things about this knife. It just has this really clean, smooth clip.
Which is what he's known for, clean design language. Yeah.
Good in the hand. But so thing about us though is that we put these out at the wrong time. We released these the week before SHOT Show. That was a dumb idea because that one connected with the Chinese New Year's, so we couldn't ship out products for a month.
Wow.
And on top of that, the virus hit, and everything else went sideways. And on top of that, the orders piled up so fast we couldn't get them out to dealers. We were selling them direct from the website faster than we can keep them in stock. Do you know how crazy that is?
That's insane.
Yeah, no company has that problem. And then we put out some of these. We put out a handful of, so we actually made 4. We made 4 small micarta Centauris. There was so much reception on those things. I don't think I put my phone down for about my entire shift at work. My phone was in my hand of people calling to ask if they could get one of those. We only had 4. Like, there were only 4 of them. Gone. Like, I think they sold out in minutes. As soon as the Instagram post went up, they were gone.
Wow.
And this, like, the small ones are going. So on that note, the micarta on those is just like a thing. Like, the micarta on those with, the S35 and the titanium scales and the really thin grind, and they're just such a good user. But the small ones were the big hit. So we finally got the small ones out.
Oh, that's more my speed. That's so sick. Oh,
just
man.
under 3 inch, 2.9 inch blade by Ray's request. This one is a Damascus one. We do have some S35 ones. Right now they're still kind of like straddling full production because we try to put a lot directly on our website. So we try to make a few micarta ones. Whenever we do the carbon fiber ones, they sell, and it's just like we have to make enough to get them out, and that's been a hard part because we've been they're selling so fast. They're still such a hot knife, and they're so good. Like, look at this.
Yeah,
so
that looks
small hands. It's so perfect.
That looks awesome, man.
Such a perfect fit in the hand.
Yeah, that's definitely certainly different from Ray's other designs. It's like I know that it's his, but like the blade shape, just like everything, it's just a little bit different.
like the handle and the groove are very distinctively his,
Yes,
but it's
yes.
got, like kind of like this butt end here with a little bit of, you know, a little bit of oomph right there.
Mm-hmm.
The blade shape, if it was a flat grind, if it was a flat grind, I can see it being a bit more Ray, but man, this blade shape just makes so much more sense. It's got a bit more aggressiveness to it.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about being a single side scale, because I don't think he has any other knives out there that are that have like a single side scale. They're all full tie. So
yeah,
the Gemini, the Keen, the Baby Bear, the one from Alliance that has an inset carbon fiber piece. But I don't think anything's like this. So the thing about this guy is it's super light. So even with the micarta, this is a relatively light knife. You get a ton of blade on. I mean, let's find something. I only have Artisan on the table, so but okay, wait. Okay, so hold on, just to comparison. First one I can reach. TRM Neutron.
Ah, okay.
Or Atom, sorry, not Neutron, Atom.
Yep.
Look at that. There's a bit more meat here.
Yeah. Is that an Atom?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
TRM, okay, so other companies, TRM is amazing.
I love TRM, man.
They are so nice.
So much.
They are so sweet. They are so cool, and they are just like, you know, okay.
I literally told them, I said, listen, I will make content for you for free. I'll do the full thing. I'll do the cinematography. I'll do whatever. I just believe in what you guys are doing. And Marianne like hit me up. She's like, when all this crazy stuff is over, you know, we'll talk again. And she was like, you have a really great voice, you know, like your video style or whatever. And I said this in the Dylan Mallory episode. It's funny that she said that because I dressed up as my mom in that video, and I had like a wig made out of magazine paper, and I was like flipping an atom. Like, I love it. Like, you know, like okay. She like watched that video.
they are so great. Like every time I see them at a show, I got to go by and say hi. It's like, it's kind of weird because I'm going as like a competitor, but a friendly competitor. But my whole thing is like, there is no competing with them. They are a very different thing. What they're doing is clearly working. And man, I don't know any other company that can put out a pre-order for a product like 3 months. It's like, yeah, put in your pre-order right now. You'll get the product in 3 months. Oh yeah, sorry, waitlist is closed. Yeah, they're working like a custom maker with production knives. Good on them for doing cool stuff, for making it well, for doing all the stuff they do and still being really cool.
Yeah, she's so nice, super nice, man.
All right, so more Artisan stuff.
Because go for it, dude. Go for it.
Like other makers, because again, like Knife Nerd, I can just go.
Yeah.
But I'm here representing Artisan.
Dude, this is great, man. I think people are really going to enjoy this one. And like I said before, this is going to be good for Artisan, at least for my viewers. Yeah. You know, the podcast is distributed in every podcast network. So it's going to be cool. I'm really enjoying it, man. I don't talk to a lot of industry people too much. You know, I talk to a lot of the reviewers and people that are just, you know, followers of my stuff. So actually you're probably the only other, maybe one out of like 4 industry people that I've talked to.
I appreciate it, man. Like we all, those of us who want to talk knives, we like talking knives. And honestly, I don't know a lot of these people who are industry side who don't like talking knives, but it's hard. I mean, for me right now, I'm sitting behind my computer answering emails and doing Instagram stuff all day, and making time for an interview is not like killer, but it's like, okay, some days I'm just like, wait, let's move the schedule around, make it happen. But this is great. Like, this is what I like doing, is talking about this stuff. This is enjoyable for me. This is great. All right, so I'm trying to think what I haven't done yet that I need to show off. All right, so I think, all right, so you saw the newish stuff. The new CJRB, so the kicker, the
blowback,
right? The Rhea is kind of the one that I really like. I just got to show it again because I love this one. This is the one that we were.
I like it.
That's right. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you the actual protos. So I just got these. In a couple weeks ago, and I have one more that I don't have that's in a slow box that got rerouted, so I don't have that one.
That sucks. So every knife guy hates that.
I'll tell you about that one. So we're doing a collaboration with Mike Emler from Crazy Sharp.
Okay,
who is
cool.
a very interesting gentleman who is also very, very serious about his knives. And man, like, talking with Mike is an intense experience every time. He's one heck of a dude, but man, the guy can sharpen knives, and he can say he can talk a bit about knives. We'll put it that way. But he had so this was kind of a weird coincidence because I know Mike. I've talked with him. He comes by Artisan and chats because he likes chatting with all the makers. And great dude, really fun to talk with. He really is just like, you know, he just gets in there and wants to know everything. He'll come by with the camera, ask about the products. It's great. He was at USN last year. He was carrying a custom knife that he made. That he and he also just did his production version of a knife with Wee knife, which I can't remember the name of. Kind of like a big combat knife. Okay. The Stonefish. There we go.
Oh yeah. It was a fixed blade, right?
That is a cool knife. It is just a really like chunky, hard using knife. But the thing is, it's a $200-something knife, and Mike loves it. Like it's a great knife, but you're investing in a real like serious tool. But he was carrying something different on him. He had a custom like about 3 inch fixed blade with kind of a long handle. Had a big choil and a Warncliffe, and I'm sitting there going, I love the Stonefish. Can I see that guy? He pulls out this thing. He's like, yeah, this is what I use at work. I'm just handling this thing like there's absolutely nothing I can say about this thing. It isn't amazing. And he's like, yeah, I made it. Like, hey, Mike. So, hey, have you heard of Artisan? Oh, yeah, you were at our booth. Hey, do you want to work together? And we ended up doing that knife, and we're still kind of hashing out the details. His final prototype have to get to him soon, but it's on our Instagram if you want to take a look at it at some point. But it's not our first fixed blade. We've done a few other fixed blades prior to this, but it's our first designer fixed blade, and it's our first time really with a focused fixed blade. It's an everyday carry fixed blade. It's not like an SE Azula. It's not like or an SE3. It's not. I'm trying to think of other fixed blades.
So it's not like an outdoorsy fixed blade that you can use for EDC. It's just like, for EDC.
It's everything. And
right. Okay.
If you're planning on like cutting down trees and like trimming branches, well, you probably have the wrong. Honestly, you're probably fine with it. But it's really like all the tasks you want to do with a folding knife, but in a heavier, chunkier, more functional package. And it's still relatively small. I love the design of it, and it just. I really want to get it in hand because I want to know what it's like. Because
that's crazy how he made it.
Yeah, I mean it's a simple knife, and that's his whole thing. It's like it's a no frills kind of knife. It's got a big old choil. It's got a straight Warncliffe. It's got a fine point, and it's got a fat handle. And it's supposed to be for guys like him with giant hands, or guys like me that want more space. It worked really well. And usually fixed blades don't catch my eye in particular, certainly not the boss's eye. The boss likes his big folding knives. If you look at some of our Artisan models that are clearly house-made, actually the boss designs a lot of our, like he designs and makes a lot of our products. So he actually is a machinist too, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But a lot of his designs are big. They are big and chunky, heavy and extra. So my personal favorite Artisan in-house, this is the Wren. I love this knife. This thing is just a real, like, look at the stock on this guy. It's a chunker.
Yeah.
But I use this thing for takedown at shows. I use it for setup. I use it for breaking down packages. And I absolutely just love this design. But you can see this is a pretty, like, hefty knife.
Yeah.
That's kind of our in-house team. But yeah, so anyway, we decided to work with Mike on this one, and we got this one done. And Mike is just like, oh my God, this is great. And it should be coming out soon. I would love to show you once I get the prototype, but I don't have it. So
maybe it's on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's
maybe I can flash a little image here, a screenshot. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Snake. And it's gonna be an interesting model because it's coming from a guy with a ton of knowledge and also a YouTube channel. Like Mike is on
a YouTube channel. What's his YouTube channel?
Crazy Sharp. I think it's just Crazy Sharp.
Okay, all right.
But Mike Emler, Crazy Sharp. He has a lot to say. He talks a lot. He really just runs a pretty simple channel, but honestly, he's got a lot of followers, and he knows a thing or two about sharpening. When you pay extra money from Ferrum Forge to get his sharpening job on your knives, on your custom Ferrum Forge, he knows a bit.
Wow.
So I've been consistently impressed with what he does with his knives and how much he's picky. He likes details. He really talks about knives in terms of just straight usage. He wants a user. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. Pretty is nice, but it should work. And that's what his designs are focused on, is they are just straight users. I like that. There's a place market for those. So anyway, let's move on to another proto, since I don't have that one here. So this one I actually do have. I flashed this one earlier, but this is the Great White.
What?
This is designed by Gavco Knives. If you couldn't tell by that thing,
what? You could definitely tell, man.
Look at that. This thing is also like light too. but
Wow.
I can't
What is
even,
it called?
the Great White.
Oh yeah,
Great
they name all their
Yeah.
stuff after sharks, right?
Like sharks.
Oh man, that's
Look at
gonna be
this.
a nice one.
Also, with that harpoon, you get that nice
Ooh.
coil right there. You can choke up a bit. I don't know how we got this grind right, but look at that. It's a
That's
recurve
crazy.
Warncliffe harp reverse,
What?
like recurve Warncliffe reverse Tonto harpoon.
What
It's
the heck?
also, we got the clip right. We nailed Gavco's paddle style clip. I love this.
I saw this on your Instagram. I
Yeah,
remember.
it's weird because usually it has like a little bend right here and then the screws going, but since it's blind screw, we just kept the contouring clean down and then bent the end. It's really cool looking.
Dude, that's sick.
So,
people are gonna like that.
Gavco actually just got his protos today. I just sent them out last week and they took a little time. He got a micarta scaled one and a full titanium one. He is in love. He says they're probably some of his favorites so far. I'm happy about them.
That's amazing.
It's so nuts. And also, surprisingly, it feels really good in the hand. I wish, this is a weird angle to do things at, like the camera.
Yeah.
But it feels really good in hand because it really has just enough space to really, like, let's see if I can skeet your fingers on.
Yep.
Close around. There's a bit of the pocket back here, but yeah, in hand it just feels really awesome.
Oh man,
it's a surprise because this is my first, like, Gavco is one of those guys. I was really just like, I got his contact through someone else I know, and I'm just like, Mike Gavco, yeah, there's no way he'll want to work with us. It's Gavco now, like legit famous. And I call him up and he's like, oh my God, yeah, I really like your stuff. Oh, that'd be so cool. I'd love to work with you guys. I'm like,
wow, yes. That's amazing. I learned a thing or two about anodizations from his videos.
Yeah, no, he's so great. Honestly, I need to go through his stuff more thoroughly because he knows so much about anos and he really has like a lot of great ideas. Like, I didn't even know that, like, he has his green Timascus that he makes. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm just like, you can make green Timascus? Like, yeah, you can apparently. So he has just such neat stuff, and he's such a nice guy. He's kind of tired. He has kids. He has more kids now, so he's but he has been an absolute pleasure to work with, and he's been just such a nice guy about all this. And I'm just so happy that he likes what we've done with the knife. And it's just like, I want to get this to market. I want to get this out, and it's cool to have his name behind our products.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, right? Is this like collaborations with some, really well-loved and sort of proven designers are gonna, I think take Artisan to the next level,
Yes. I mean, for any company,
any company really,
having those names are really important because it I think I mentioned this earlier, but it proves that you're invested in doing this well. You're not just pulling design saying, oh, that's cool. Here, let me throw you some money to take that design off your hands. Like, no, we're collaborating. We're paying them. You're paying them as designers. They get royalties. They don't get a check for the design. They get royalties in our case, every quarter.
Yeah.
And it's something that's an ongoing deal.
Yep.
So I think that's important because we want these people to be, one, represented well. We want their products to look like, we want what we make of their designs to be good, to perform well, and to represent what they do best. And we want them to make money off of this. This is part of their job. This is part of their livelihood. And for people who are doing this professionally, yes, let's make their life a little easier by producing the designs and getting them paid for what they deserve. They deserve to be paid for doing good work, making good designs, and being the person that can help bring companies like ours to a point where we can be like, hey, we have good stuff too. We want it. It's a win all the way around. And our job as a manufacturing company is to make these knives in a way that represents the makers well and to make them feel good about the products we're making. And I'm happy we've been able to do that so far.
Yeah, I mean the stuff that you showed me tonight has been really, really dope, man. I really like them a lot.
Oh, speaking of, actually, I forgot one. That was in the,
Show me.
backtrack, not prototypes. We finally got this one out. Small Hyperion.
Ooh, nice.
Designed by Daryl Caston.
Wow.
So the full size one of this guy was pretty big, and for something that is a Lanny, it just was kind of strange. But this one, I think, just fits really well into that EDC category. Look at that clip.
Yeah,
so
that looks really, really nice.
Daryl took a couple tries to get that clip right, and on top of that, it's got that Lanny style too, with that the bolster, and it's actually not a bolster. It's a bolster lock, so it's all tie on the inside, and then there's an overlay of the carbon fiber. And this one is Damascus. Yeah, that one's Damascus.
Wow.
But Yeah, this one turned out really nice.
So that's a smaller version.
Yeah, the big one was just a little huge. Some people love it. Smoky Mountain Knife Works really wants to do a copper and brass version of it, so they have an exclusive up on their website.
Yeah.
But for us on this side, we only have the titanium and carbon fiber versions, but this is such a cool carry. It's elegant, it's got some class, it's got some character behind it, and it also just has a nice like shape and hand. Let's see, let's get it.
Yeah.
So there we go. So I kind of got, for my small
classy.
Hand. Yeah. And if you really have larger hands, you can always kind of like get a bit more off the handle here and you have a nice 3-finger, but for me, I'm pretty much a solid 4-finger on this guy. It's super cool. Anyway, so all right, so back to protos though. So
Yep.
So last actual proto. This is probably the one I'm most excited about personally because this is from a new he's not a new designer. So this is by Cerberus Knives, who actually does scales. Chris Ortiz with Cerberus Knives. He makes scales for he does a lot of PM3 scales. He does a lot of custom micarta scales. He's one hell of a machinist. So this is the oh no, I'm forgetting the name. Oh god. I was oh no. We'll just okay.
It's from Cerberus Knives. The designer.
I'm gonna regret this one. I'm thinking of it's like this is the problem with having so many knives. It's like
I can flash the name on the screen when you remember.
The name is right there, or right there.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna credit the designers too.
Yes.
Maybe like flash their Instagram. I'll do something special for the protos.
Arion, there we go. Arion, there it is.
Arion, okay, there you go.
I hope that was right because I'm like, A, it starts with an A. Oh no. Anyway, check this out. Look at this knife. Let's do the presentation side. This thing is super clean.
Yes.
So the cool thing about Chris is a great machinist. So when he gave us this design, it was done. Like here's a 3D render, here's the drawing, here's where the screws go, here's the size, here's the pieces, here's like every single thing to do to make this thing. And it just works so well. Now I'm not sure how everyone's gonna feel about the thumb hole here. I like it because for me, I think this flicks really well. For that middle finger flick. It's just so good. And then you can thumb roll it really well. But if you're gonna do a thumb flick, it's a little like it takes a bit of practice. Yeah. But
so what do you got to get like the chunk of the middle of your thumb?
You got to get a bit of tissue with it. If you're using a nail, let's see if I can use a nail.
Sometimes the nail isn't how you do it. You got to go.
That's with thumb studs. If you're doing thumb holes, you got to use like, let's see, the meat of your thumb.
Yeah.
But just check out how super clean that
is. Clean, man.
Like the ergos are super neat. It's super smooth. It really sits in hand. He says it's a big boy knife. And honestly, lengthwise and size-wise, this is a big knife. Check out how thin that is.
Wow.
0.1 stock. Super thin behind the edge. And also, I really like this clip. Like, look, that's small. Like, normally small clips are kind of weird. It's only kind of weird because you don't get a lot of spring, but it's a milled clip. You don't need a lot of spring as long as the ramp is correct. As long as there's enough ramp here and you can get it under, you don't need it to be really, really flexible. I think this sits really nicely in jeans because it grips well and it doesn't look, it just like, I don't have anything.
It's like a regular, could be anything. Yeah.
It doesn't look huge in pocket. Also, I'm going to just nerd out on like fidget factor here.
Yeah.
I like how it sits below the lock bar cutout because part of me is like, okay, you can use your thumb to index the lock bar cutout, hold it here and.
Wow. Nice. Reverse. Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to be doing with it.
It's so like dumb tactical stuff. Yeah. Middle finger reverse, like stabby grip.
Stabby grip.
So dumb, but I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I'm really jazzed about this, but here, see if this will pick it up. There's one more cool thing about this guy. Please focus camera. I never use you.
I see something there. It says.
Oh no, it doesn't focus.
It says.
Oh, forget it. Okay.
There's something.
I'm just gonna say it then. This one, the prototype anyway, is in our new steel, AR RPM 9.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a cool thing that we're doing.
What's the specialty of that steel?
Okay, so We're still kind of getting finalized testing on it. So here's the downside to it is that I planned on having a whole line of reviewers and honestly the Apex pass around group. I was going to pass it to machinists, people who worked in adverse conditions. I was getting a handful of them from the factory, just going to hand them out and say, guys, beat up these knives.
Yeah.
Not this particular model, but like, we have a CJRB in the same model.
Mm-hmm.
To say, test this. That box is the one that got lost and is rerouted.
Oh no!
So the hardcore or the anecdotal test data is still out there. I have had Chris go through this, and with his machines in his shop, he's gone through this guy, and he went one day and just like, all right, I'm gonna cut all the cardboard. I'm gonna cut all the paracord on top of a beat up piece of metal. I'm gonna bash this thing onto some wood and see what happens. The steel held out well. So let me just talk a bit about the steel, because this is essentially the full-on debut of AR RPM 9.
Yeah.
So you get kind of like a pseudo first. It was on Instagram. So this was our response to the industry saying that they're tired of certain steels.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start by saying that AR RPM 9 was not designed to be a super steel. It is a budget-oriented steel. It is not M390. It is not S35. It is not N690. It is not, any of the, it's not S110. It's not S90. It's not, any of the higher end stuff. This is meant to compete with other things that are more budget. D2, 14C28N, VG10, things like that aren't really, we're not looking at like 8CR, OS8, 440. We're looking a bit higher than that. But
like the 14C28N kind of stuff. Yeah.
14C is great stuff. Like
people love that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great steel, especially in an age now where people really are kind of moving away from D2 because of the lack of stain resistance. And to be honest, I like D2 a lot. Like, again, D2, I can dig it, especially because our D2, this is personal thoughts. I think Artisan's D2 is really good because our D2 usually hovers around the 60 HRC range. Other D2 does not. I'm pretty happy that we can keep our D2 consistently pretty darn good. It cuts well. It holds well. It takes an edge pretty well. It sharpens like D2, which means it takes forever. It is not steel because it is D2. If you look at any of my personal CJRBs that I use or my Artisans, they have a few spots on them. I mean, even though I live in California, I don't mind it. I use my knives.
Yep.
The ones I don't use don't have any spots on them because I never use them, and I just play with them. The ones that I do use, they get a bit messy. It happens. But right now, I think Nick Shabazz covered this a while ago when he reviewed the Centris. If this was 5 years ago, people would be losing their mind that there's a knife in D2 that's $35.
Yeah.
Or $40 or $50 for that matter.
Yep.
It was a more premium steel then. But right now, people have kind of moved towards demanding more stainlessness in their steels. Hence why 12C was not a sought-after steel a while ago. 14C was a proprietary steel for Kai, so for Kershaw. They were the only ones using it, and I believe they only released the formula publicly relatively recently, but don't tell me that when it was
Rake uses it a lot.
Yeah, but pretty much 12C was like, oh, that's another steel. No one was really, losing their mind over it. D2 was like, oh, wow, D2's amazing. And it is. It's a good steel. But finding something in the middle right now is not quite a possibility. And 14C28N is great. And, it's great, but it's not the same as D2. What we tried to do, and, this only those two steels are kind of my general comparison. There are others. Like, I could always add VG10 to the mix. I can throw BD1 in there. I can throw 9CR. What is it, 14CR something? It was only used for a few things. But there's a bunch of other steels that are kind of a little bit more than budget, kind of above that 8CR, 440 range. And our whole thing was like, okay, people are tired of D2. Like, there's people in the knife reviewing community that are just sick and tired of D2 on Chinese knives.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of, part of the joy of living in this community and doing these things is we like to nerd out about steel. I mean, at the end of the day, we all use our knives for certain things. Sometimes we need a super steel. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we really don't want to sharpen that M390. Sometimes we really don't mind sharpening our junkers. And depending on who you are and what you do with it, that's your choice. Sometimes having that good, like really nice, really hard, like sometimes you need M4, sometimes you need 3V, sometimes you need S110 for what you do in life. back when I worked brick and mortar, I had a gentleman who came in every 6 months and bought a new Benchmade Contigo. And I'm sitting there going, after his second time coming in, I'm like, dude, you bought a Benchmade Contigo 6 months ago. What are you doing with this thing that you need a new one? It's like, oh, I break down drywall and concrete with this thing. And I'm just sitting there going, I mean, if that's what you're using your knife for, dude, you picked the right knife for the job.
Yeah.
But man, shouldn't you be investing in, I don't know, a crowbar? But no, like, what he needed to cut drywall. He was trimming and cutting drywall in a very precise manner, but he was doing it in cramped spaces. So he wanted a folding knife to do it. And the Benchmade Contigo at that point was one of the only knives in M4. This guy is on the high end of the spectrum of what he needs to use his knife for, to the point where he's replacing a super hard tool steel knife every 6 months.
Every 6 months. How much was that at the time, the Contigo?
It wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't cheap.
I gotta say, yeah.
But yeah, like, if you use your knife like that, I mean, just depending on what you do with your knife, sometimes you need something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to budget steels, you can't really get much more, like, you can't get a much tougher steel than D2 in that honestly, like under $100 price point.
Yep.
You probably have a couple options, but D2 is kind of the leader for your hardness, your edge resistance. If you're going in that same price point, if you're going for something that you want stainlessness, I mean, BG10. BG10 is pretty good. 14 or 12C is also really good because they're both made for kitchen knives. They're excellent, but they don't perform the same. They're not kind of doing that. So our thing, and this was me having a conversation with a boss at like 3 o'clock in the morning. He just sent me a text like, hey, what do you think about us making a new steel? And I'm like, it's 3 in the morning. Cool. Sure. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Then he sent me a spec sheet. And I'm like, boss, did you? Yeah, I made a steel. What do you think?
Oh,
I'm like,
shit.
okay, great. So that was nuts.
Yeah.
I expected this to be kind of a little pet project. I didn't think you were going forward and doing a full production run. Now, I don't think this will be the case because the data I've gotten so far has led me to believe that this is going to be a pretty good product. If it happens to have some problems, well, we'll find out in the future. But right now, the data I've gotten from Chris in terms of looking at it under a microscope, checking it with, checking the HRC and beating on it like hell on pieces of metal, is that it holds up pretty well. So if this works, this is actually a nice meet in the middle between D2 and 14C. In terms of like, here's your hard stainless, general EDC. Here's your hard, totally not stainless, much more hard use steel. Meeting in the center with a steel that comes out to be pretty darn stainless, takes an HRC of about 60, sharpens up easily. This is all right, so here's the weird part about this guy. Oh, and this is actually a powdered steel as well. So we get the benefits that come with powdered material as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So far the data has said that this is stainless, hard, sharp, and easy to maintain.
Nice.
If those all are totally true, and this is what I hope it is, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
This is competing against much higher end steels with properties that other steels way up the ladder simply don't have. That ease of ease of sharpenability is not a real key trait of higher end steels. Have you tried sharpening M390?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Hell.
Yeah, you got it. It takes a little bit. Takes a little while.
It's patience, swearing, and a little alcohol.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Yep.
Go. But it's been cool. Also, from what Chris has been telling us, this steel does not only resharpen easily, it strops easily. So the thing about that is the powder construction, and I hope this is the case, it just takes a little stropping to return the carbide structure to a nice even set. But as it's used, it gets really toothy like more cobalt heavy steels. Okay. Kind of like VG10, which is a really cool thing because as you're using it, I mean, you're not gonna have a hair popping edge after you like beaten up on it, but you're still gonna cut things really well. So if you're cutting cardboard or cutting boxes or breaking down other materials, it's gonna have a really toothy, chunky edge.
Yeah, sometimes a toothy edge is pretty good.
That nice zik when you're cutting. So if this is the case, I'm really looking forward to getting the steel out to a lot more reviewers. If you like one, you're welcome to have one to test out. Just go and like.
Dude, whenever you have it, I will do an entire video of me just cutting boxes and like just talking shit. You know what I mean?
All the cardboard, just all of it.
Yeah, I'll just get I store like cardboard to just cut on camera, even though sometimes I forget to like bring it.
How's that pile behind you doing?
It's
like a giant pile.
Just getting, I'm shipping a lot of stuff out tomorrow for the pass around, so it's gotten less, but sometimes it gets really up there, man. Yep. Hey, Russell, man, this has been really, really awesome, dude. It's really, really crazy. I think my viewers are really gonna love this. Is there anything you want to say to the viewers? Anything you want to plug, by the way? You could plug Artisan's Instagram. I think every knife company should have a YouTube, man.
Yep.
I think every knife company should have somebody like you to kind of just give news, and come on podcasts like this, because there are some pretty big knife podcasts out there right now.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it's not a podcast, it's a live.
Yeah. So yeah, I pop on there when I can, but
that's what I'm saying is like to be able to go on these different platforms and just did exactly what you did right now is going to be a whole new cool thing for the knife.
That's great. Like I'm
the Knife Junkie is doing really good.
Yes.
At doing that. Yeah. I can't believe I was on there. I was like, are you sure? But yeah, man. Dude, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. This is great. Like, this is what I love doing, man. It was so good to finally like talk to you after watching your stuff for so long.
Thank you, man. Thank you. No so plug Artisan's Instagram real quick.
So just Artisan Cutlery and Instagram, CJRB on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube, even though there's nothing on there because that's all me. I should be doing that. I mostly just comment on stuff.
Yeah.
Check out our products on Blade HQ, Knife Center, Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Please check our website, artisancutlery.net, to find the cool, interesting things that don't go to the dealers. We'll do early releases on there fairly often. So if you stop by the website on a regular basis, sometimes you'll find stuff that you will not see at any other point, like the
wow.
Well, we had a non-locking feldspar on there for a little bit that just gone.
Wow.
So cool. Yeah, we'll put up experimental stuff on there sometimes. There'll be
that's awesome.
And if you really want to go hardcore, occasionally we'll throw up like the titanium Damascus models on there. So that's all on the website. So yeah, artisancutlery.net.
There you
Fun
go.
Stuff. Oh, and we started selling on Amazon recently. So we have a small Amazon store. So if you're looking for the CJRB models and some of the Artisan models, those are all available on Amazon, including the Rhea, and I believe the Kicker's on there as well too. So the newest models are there, mostly by happenstance because they happen to get shipped there more effectively. They will be showing up. In fact, I think Blade HQ just got some of the Kickers in today. Knife Center got some new stuff in last week. So it's all going to be showing up. Artisan's going to be popping up everywhere. More than we already are.
You heard that, man. You guys should definitely check those out. This is your boy in the NYC. It's me, Ray, and this is the EDCCP saying peace.
Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.